What's up, you guys? Welcome back to the New and Experienced Investor Podcast. Today, we have a very exciting show. It's definitely one you don't want to miss. I'm one of your hosts. I'm Alex Barnett. I'm the new guy.
I'm the experienced guy. My name's Joe Holmes, and we're missing.
Yeah.
We're missing an entire guest.
We're missing a guy.
Yeah.
It's not the first time that this has happened, but our guest thought we were doing a Zoom.
Oops.
Yeah. Zoom call.
Oopsies.
Oops.
So that's okay. You know, we're professionals. We pivot, and we're gonna just kind of do some free flow. So jump in the chat if you guys have any questions that you want to get answered. Let me know. But before we do that, let's talk about our meetup that we have coming up.
July 28th, Hangar 24.
Yep.
6 o'clock. And our guest speaker is you.
That's right.
You are our guest speaker. So please come out. Hopefully, please, not long-winded. We're going to keep it to, 5 to 7 minutes. Yeah. Get up there. Tell us why you're the greatest thing since sliced bread. You're the greatest agent. You're the greatest investor. You do multifamily. You do subject to. You do wholesaling. Whatever it is, get up there. Mm-hmm. I'm just like the best guy in the world.
Yeah.
Whatever you want.
Yeah, whatever you want.
Whatever you want.
And it's also good to ask. At that point, you can say, hey, these are the things I need in my business. Is that you out there in the audience? Oftentimes, someone will raise their hand. You guys get connected.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
Heck yeah. So it was a big hit last time. We're going to do it again because we had so many requests. So we like to give the people what they want. Mm-hmm. And we'll see you there. I always like to remind you guys that you get the most out of this podcast in particular because it's live when you jump in the chat. So share this far and wide with any new or experienced investor. And, we will bring up your questions and answer them, especially today. So since we don't have any guests, we had to reschedule. We had to pivot. We're talking about multiple things today because if you guys didn't know, Joe is an author.
I am.
Yep, he's an author of multiple books. So we're gonna go down the list and we're gonna talk about a couple of subjects that Joe's been just
wow.
You know what?
Look at that.
I've taken this stuff out of my head and actually written it down, so it'll be around forever.
That's right.
3, and I'm working on 4.
Mm-hmm.
Prolific.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. We come in here
flipping, assuming loans, and wholesaling. And my next book is going to be on subject to, which is the first property I ever purchased was subject to.
That's right.
It was 40 years ago.
40 years ago. Yeah.
You remember 40 years ago?
No, I don't remember. Just barely, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, let's get into it because you'll show up at the office. We had to come here one time in the middle of the night to drop off some gear, and Joe's in here on a typewriter, smoke flying up, no lights on. He's got a cigar. It's very strange to see a drink. Yeah, some scotch.
Some scotch.
Yeah, he's all like frazzled, and then you wake up and there's a fully published book the next morning. So I don't know how you're doing it, but it's pretty unbelievable.
Thank you.
Yeah. So let's talk about
It's a lot of fun.
It looks like it.
It is. It's a lot of fun.
Let's talk about our first subject here, which is wholesaling real estate. Mm-hmm. It's all the rage. It's what all the kids are doing. And basically, this was what our last meetup was about as well. But essentially, what you're doing is you're flipping a contract. You're getting property under contract for a certain price. Then you're going out and you're finding a buyer and selling that contract for the difference. And it's great because it teaches you how to get deals, how to get leads, how to talk to sellers, all skills that you can use throughout the rest of your career. Mm-hmm. If you decide you want to flip, if you decide you want to hold, you want to know how to do that. I mean, you're still talking to sellers and negotiating to this day, right?
Yeah, we've got one in escrow. We'll be closing next week. It took me 4 months to get to this point.
You had to
But,
nurture it.
Yeah, you had to nurture it. Absolutely.
You thought you lost
Yeah,
it.
and I didn't like the price, and I kept on them. It is literally a hoarder house, terrible condition. You've been there, terrible condition, and it's just like, texting. This was actually mostly through text.
Wow.
Yeah, I never actually have met this person, and in fact, I think it was kind of a probate deal.
Okay.
And I think this person maybe is a beneficiary because now I'm dealing with the attorney
Oh, okay.
and he's getting all his paperwork on his end done
Right.
so that we can buy it on our end.
Right.
But I was dealing with this person who did not want to speak or deal with a real estate agent.
Yeah.
Okay.
A lot of those out there.
Did not want to list the property and did not want to deal with a wholesaler.
Oh, they've been burned before.
I have many hats. I took off my wholesaling hat.
Yeah, I don't do that
I
anymore.
took off my agent hat.
Yep, haven't done that in
Okay.
years.
And I just became the investor in this deal.
Right.
And I said, we are going to close this at the end of the day
Yeah.
at our price that we want.
That's all
And
they
that's
cared
where
about.
we're headed. One more week, we should be closed.
That's all they cared about.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, technically, I believe you guys got it at a price to where if you wanted to, you could wholesale it. I'm
Yes.
sure, because there's still enough meat on the bone to where
Yes.
somebody could come in here,
Yeah.
fix it up.
We're getting it at $650. She started out at $710. So I got her down at $650. And the after repair value is anywhere between $925 and $950. So yes. So that's a great question. Let's pose that to the audience and pose that to you as well. It's like, what would you do, Mr. Alex? You have this deal. You're going to close at $650. You can easily make probably $100,000 in less than a couple of weeks. You put it back on the market. You find another person that's going to actually flip the property at the end of the day. They pay you $750. They put $100 into it, make $100 themselves. What would you do? Would you hold on to it and flip it yourself to make $200, or would you not be greedy and say, "Yeah, let's do $100 and we can take producer to Hawaii"?
Yeah, I think do the 100.
I could go to Hawaii with 200 as well.
But you get the money sooner.
Two Hawaiis.
Yeah. I think at this point, if you can just relist it, you make a decent return, and then somebody else can. I think it's a good move. You don't have to deal with the contractors. You don't have to deal with something coming up in the market. You can kind of just time it. Boom, boom.
Yeah.
Get in and out. That's what it's all about right now.
Well, we'll see. I think that's the plan. We'll probably list it and we'll see what happens in a couple of weeks. And if we don't get what we want, then we'll go in and flip it.
Exactly.
Not a problem.
Multiple exit strategies,
Yeah.
which is nice. So, but yeah, like I was saying, I mean, you're essentially wholesaling it. We call it wholetailing, where you put it back on the market to a retail buyer, which is most likely going to be an investor because of the condition that it's in. So it's basically the same thing. You just get more eyes on it because you get to put it on the MLS,
Right.
where everybody
We do
is
clean it
looking.
up.
You're going to clean it up.
Yeah.
but,
Because you really can't show it like it is.
yeah.
Oh, look, do we have a special guest that just walked in?
Oh.
Oh.
I don't think he is. No,
Do you want to be on the podcast here? Oh, come on.
no
Have a
guess.
seat.
No.
We got stood up.
Yeah, this is fine. Yeah, it's all right.
Okay.
We got a thing going on next week.
Oh, do you? Okay. Okay.
So Joe's still taking these skills that he's learned, from many years ago. Negotiation, follow up.
Everything
cetera.
is in the book.
Everything is in this
and
book.
it's like very inexpensive. You can go
Yep.
on Amazon. You find it on Amazon for $9.99.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be rich by all these people that are buying my book.
You might be.
Yeah.
You might be.
Whole $9.99 for my book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And maybe if, I see one thing right here, the double close option.
Yes,
That's probably.
that's what we're doing.
Yeah, it's basically what you're doing. Yeah.
I explain all that in the book.
Right.
Yeah.
great.
So get on your computer, go on Amazon, Look up the title or
Yeah.
look up my name. It'll show up either way.
And start right away. And I want to just kind of give a tip of the cap to a new wholesaler that met with us last week. His name's Brian. I'm trying to get him on next week when I got a special guest host while you're on your cruise. But he is just starting out. He's just cold calling 4 hours a day diligently. And after our last meetup, I had people text me or reach out to me. I gave him a list of AI driving for dollars, and he's been calling that list, and he's already got like 2 leads after like maybe 3 days.
He sent me, I think it was this morning, he sent me a text that he has property, I think in San Jacinto, but there's like very, very little spread there. And I told him that, like that's not really even a deal. But that's so fantastic that he's actually calling and talking to these people and trying to put something together.
Yeah.
I told him that was mostly like a listing.
Oh, right.
So convert that to a listing and, we'll pay him for that as well.
Exactly.
But you and I met him for lunch.
Yeah.
Was very impressed with what he was doing. We invited him to the office because I wanted to hear what he was doing on the phone and, give him some pointers. And
he's good.
He came in, we gave him some pointers.
Yeah.
And thank God. Thanks. I mean, that's awesome that he's headed in the right direction.
It's all it is. It's like he's just putting in the time and he's getting leads from it. That's all. It's not really anything past that.
Yeah.
Just people, they don't put in that time. I think he's dedicating 4 hours a day, which is a good chunk.
Yeah.
Which you can still do part-time because he still has a full-time job. So there's no excuses, people. But it's a great way to get started, I would say.
Yeah.
Because you can start with knowing nothing. You can come here in this office specifically. We'll coach you how to talk to people. We have the lists. We have the systems. So I would definitely recommend it. And it seems like a pretty light read.
It is.
I would pick it up, just get an overview, and then immediately start putting action in because $15,000 could be waiting for you. $10,000 could be waiting for you 30 days.
$9.99.
And all it costs is $9.99. Think about that ROI right there.
Yeah.
So definitely pick that up. Where do they get it? Amazon?
On Amazon.
Cool.
Yes. Yeah.
Cool. That's great. All right, next up.
And we talked about this last week.
We did.
Yeah, with Stephanie.
Yep.
And yes, you can assume a loan, FHA or VA.
Right.
And there's specific rules, and all those rules are in there. And we've closed a couple of transactions. We're looking to close another one here pretty soon. It's an awesome way to buy property. The last purchaser assumed a loan 2.75% interest.
That's insane.
Wow.
They said really that wasn't going to be possible again.
No.
But it is.
Absolutely.
You just got to know the right way to do it.
Yeah.
What's the equity trap?
I don't know. What is the equity trap?
It's pitfall number 2.
It is?
Yeah. It's if the balance is far below the market value.
Oh, that's upside down. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's what that is. Okay. Gotcha. Yep. Before making an offer, you got to calculate the purchase price minus the assumed loan balance, and that's going to be your cash needed.
Yeah,
so you got to come up with the gap funding.
Correct.
Right.
Well, you have to come up with at least 20% down to buy a house anyways, even though we have properties that really have very little down. I mean, if you want to live out in the desert...
Yeah.
Okay. You can literally pick up a property for $10,000 or $15,000. Yes, and assume that loan.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, this is California, but out in the desert, it's not like they're going up. Inflation-wise, gangbusters.
Right. It's kind of a slow play.
Little hot out there.
It's a little hot.
It's a little hot out there. Not the market, but yeah.
And this is different from subject 2, and I'm sure we'll go over all of that. Where subject 2, you can probably pick up a property for like no money down.
Yes,
which is possible. Yep,
we've done that a couple times.
Done it.
Yeah.
It's when people, are in distress and they want out.
I like those conversations you have with these people. It's like, yeah, my sister's living in there. She was supposed to make the payments, but she's not making the payments. I'm tired of this. Alex, do you want the place? What? Do you want the place? Yeah. Okay. Then you can have it. You
Right.
can take the loan subject to, but you also have to take my sister.
Yeah.
Okay. That unfortunately turned out to be the hard part. But we did make money on that.
Still made money
I
somehow.
still made money. I actually passed on another deal where the guy said the same thing. He was like, I'll basically give you my house, but you have to deal with my brother. And
But you had met the brother.
yes.
You went down there.
We went there and the house wasn't what he said.
That was a different situation because I think you told me that the mother lived next door.
Yep. Yeah, it was a whole thing. And the house was a 2-1 that they converted into a 5-bedroom, 2-bath.
Unpermitted.
All unpermitted.
Oh, wow, nice.
All janky.
Yeah. In beautiful LA.
Yeah. So we were like, no.
No.
But apparently he had a developer that wanted to buy it, so he wasn't too mad.
Okay.
Doubt that's true, but it's fun to tell people that.
If anyone has a beach house they want to give away, we'll take it.
Are you in for that?
Yeah, I'm in for that.
Yeah, the beach house.
I'll get a sister out of there real quick.
Yeah. In fact, Ryan, the wholesaler guy you're talking about,
Yeah.
wasn't he
Brian.
here that day? Brian or Ryan?
Brian.
Brian. Wasn't he here that day that he had a conversation with a lady who owned who owned that property right on the beach?
Yep.
It was listed they couldn't sell it, and he's trying to put a deal together with
right.
her, and it was like, was it 3.5?
I thought it was,
Maybe
I think
more?
she had it listed for 9.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
And
9
then
million.
she was like, I'll take 8 for it. But I believe the ARV was closer to 4.
Oh, okay.
And then there was
Well,
like
of course.
a mortgage on there that was,
Yeah. But it was literally what
corner lot on the beach.
What my
Newport
wife
Beach.
called toes wet.
Yeah.
You walk out the back and your toes are wet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're
Right
like-
on the beach.
Yep.
In Newport.
In Newport.
Yeah.
I think she bought it for like $200,000.
Oh, nice. Wow.
That's always fun to look at in the 80s.
And she's older as well.
Yeah.
Well, for
80
200
or so.
grand, you'd have to be old.
I mean, I thought she bought it in the 80s for that much, but maybe not.
Maybe it was the lot. That's I think what we kind of started
Oh, really?
figuring out.
Okay,
the
okay.
lot was
That makes
200,
sense.
and then
built
she
her dream
custom home on there.
Nice.
Got it.
That's crazy to
That's
think.
why she's the producer. She thinks of all
I know.
these things.
I know.
Yeah.
It's crazy to think how much land there was in the 80s in Orange County.
Oh, I remember. Yeah, lots of land. Lots of orange groves, stuff like that.
Now there's nothing. There's like
Nothing.
1 or 2 plots on
Nothing.
PCH.
The Headlands is gone.
Yeah.
Dana Point, it's gone. They
Yeah.
built all over it. They said they would never build on the Headlands, and look, they built on it.
Yeah.
They're building more somehow.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How was the 4th of July down
Good.
there? Good.
It was wild. It was actually wild. There, so the parking lot in front of our condo complex was all teenagers.
Oh, yeah, that's normal.
And I guess the beach was standing room only because they threw a huge party. Like every high school in the area got together and threw a huge party. And
Wow.
yeah.
And you guys weren't down there?
Heck no.
God, no.
Oh, come on.
No, we were watching from the balcony. I meant to show you because I was trying to send you pictures because there would be like bike cops,
Yeah.
the sheriffs, but they're all on e-bikes now.
Oh,
I know.
That's cheating. That's cheating.
Yeah. So there was one guy who's like going up this like bike path and a guy was passing him and he's like, hey, I just called. There's like a fire up there. And the guy's like, he stops for a second. He's like, what? He's like, yeah, there's like a fire up there. I just called. He's like, yeah, call the fire department. And then takes off on the e-bike.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah. It looked pretty fun. But yeah, we're just watching from our balcony, people getting in fights, getting in accidents. It's pretty fun.
Just belligerent teenagers.
Yep.
Do we have any comments? Anybody?
Yeah, we got Liz in the chat. She's asking In your experience, which U.S. markets are especially ripe right now for cash flowing co-living investments?
Oh, I'm glad she asked. Thank you, Liz. That's great. So as many of you know, if you've been following my social media, I'm really getting into co-living. We're private money partners on quite a few now. And as far as the markets, I would say great ones are Phoenix. You got Atlanta is a good one. And Florida and the Tampa, Orlando area. So they got big houses and the taxes aren't that crazy. You can shove a ton of people in there.
Well, I was going to say, why don't you describe what co-living is?
Okay. Yeah. And it's sort of becoming more popular right now, but it's essentially you take a 4-bedroom, 3-bath house and you convert the dining room and the living room into extra bedrooms. So you'd end up with like an 8-bedroom, 3-bath. That's a very popular configuration. They're all shared bathrooms usually, but some people you can get like an ensuite and you just rent out by the room. And so you have 8 people in a house. You kind of want to have like 2,000 square feet or more. And you just have a nice, clean area for people to come in and kind of just sleep. And then they all share the kitchen and the laundry room.
Do you have like theme houses? Like this is all for girls?
I have seen that. Yeah, they're starting to do senior houses.
Do they do like boy-girl stuff as well?
I guess they could. I haven't really seen that because one of the bigger platforms that find the tenants is Pad Split, and they will just give you kind of whoever wants to live there, and then you decide if you want to. But you could pick all girls, all boys.
So that brings up a great question. So if you're a young lady that's living there, do you have any say on the other 7 people that are going to live with you?
No. Yeah.
So obviously there's a special contract that says that you have no say in any of that.
Yeah, you have no say. It's month to month. So you can decide if you want to leave.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that you pay weekly actually, and then it's a month-to-month lease. So you can have a little bit of flexibility. And what's cool with the Pad Split model, when you become a member of Pad Split, you can just pick another house that you want to live. So you can look around. Oh, there's this other house over here. I'm going to move there, and then you can just kind of move your residency over to this next place.
Didn't they used to call these things brothels?
Yeah, it's been around for a long time.
Yeah.
Oldest profession, they say.
Yeah.
But yeah, rent by the room, rent by the hour.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a take on the brothel.
What is your take on the average stay?
The average stay is usually around 9 months or less. So there is some turnover. But I have been seeing people, they're starting to hone in on creating more of a community aspect. And so they're getting really granular with deciding people that are going to mesh well together. Because I think because it's so new, people were just accepting people in. And you get the guy that's like just too loud at night. He's,
Is it, I mean, do they have an app?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they got an app.
So is it possible like to swipe left or right or whatever?
I don't think so. No. I think you just get a picture of the room.
You can't approve people that are coming in.
Oh yeah, no, you can approve people that are coming. Sorry, for the operator?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, not for the operator, for the person
tenant
that's living there. Yes.
Yeah, no, you don't get to decide anything.
Yeah, I don't like Alex. He's out.
No.
He can't live here with me.
No.
No.
You don't get any of that.
I mean, if you left it up to the tenants to choose, why wouldn't they just leave the other rooms empty or something?
Well, yeah, but it's basically it's up to the operator to kind of get a cohesive sort of community going. And these are all supposed to be like the main demographic is somebody who's like working at like an Amazon warehouse or Home Depot, maybe like lower income. They want a nice place to just crash out, and then they want to save some money so they can eventually maybe get their own place. So it is sort of a transitional lifestyle, but you can have people that stay longer if it works out for them. Maybe you're older, you're on fixed income, this works out for you. You have access to everything you need. So there's a lot of different ways people are going with it. It's kind of interesting because a lot of Airbnb operators, because Airbnb has kind of been declining with the changes on their platform, they're converting now to co-living, and they have a themed house like the beach house or whatever.
So what do you supply in the house?
So you supply a bed, a desk, and then I've seen people put in a closet, TVs. They put in mini fridges. So, but what's required is a bed and a desk.
So it's really like a transient type place. I mean, bring your suitcase, drop it, and then if you don't like it in a month, you're out of there.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Wow.
So it's up to the operators to make it a place that is you want to stay there. And so what people are doing is they'll do like, we're doing pizza Fridays and, kind of deliver that. They'll have cleaners go in there, clean all the common areas. So it's, kind of in its beginning stages, I would say. But there are people that have been doing it for a long time. And it's just a matter of, it's going to come down to the operator, just like Airbnb. Like, what kind of experience are you
So what kind of profit are you looking to get?
I like to get at least 2,000 cash flow after all expenses, or at least 15 to 20% cash on cash return.
Okay.
And so they're buying a lot of them that are subject to or creative finance. So there's an entry fee they usually give to the wholesaler and the seller. And then on top of that, you have your costs of converting it. So then you pay your contractor, and it lands somewhere between 80 to 100 grand to get into it.
That much?
Yeah.
Wow.
I know. But then, you're paid back in like 5 years or less, hopefully.
Wow.
And then after that, you have
That seems like a lot.
No, not really.
No.
80 to 100
you're big
grand.
time now. Yeah. When he first started, it's like, Joe, we're going to make like 20 grand on this deal. I go, that's not enough. Oh, it is for me. Yeah, it is for me.
That's right. I do remember saying that.
So yeah.
I'm like 80 to 100 grand's peanuts.
Yeah.
No, it is kind of a lot. But all the numbers work out. I mean, if you're making 20% cash on cash, where else are you going to get that? I mean, it's going to be sitting in your savings account, your 401k.
You mean the banks aren't going to pay you that?
The banks aren't going to pay that.
No?
You have to trust me.
We trust you.
Thank you.
We trust you. Yes.
And but back to Liz's question. I'm looking at Phoenix. I'm looking at Atlanta. I'm looking at Florida.
Nothing in Hawaii.
Oh, yeah. No, in Hawaii,
did look
too.
at one in Hawaii, but
We
couldn't
did.
get it funded.
But you didn't go there.
No.
That's the one we were trying to go there for.
And it's still on market.
That was one that you and I were going to go and leave her, but she would have
Wasn't
that.
having it.
Nice try.
15 bed. It's already set up. 15 bed, 5 bath, 3 level, 3 kitchens.
And it fell through.
Fell through because they're not willing
Right
to
at the
do
last
seller
minute.
finance.
Yeah.
We can't get a loan on it. And the couple is a 90-year-old couple getting a divorce, and they refuse to do seller finance
Who
on
gets
it.
a divorce at 90? I mean, if you've been married that long, you may as well just forget
take
it.
yourself out.
Oh,
If you're so
Jeez.
like, well, no, I'm just saying, if you're so
God.
miserable.
just like, separate then. It's like,
separate.
forget it.
Yeah,
Separate.
you don't have to like legally get divorced.
No.
Okay, no, that's better.
No,
I don't know.
that's like crazy.
That's weird. But Hawaii could be a good market. It's just very particular. Like whenever I was asking anybody, they're like, "Have you ever done any construction on Hawaii?" I was like, "No." They're like, "It's hard. Nobody wants to work."
I see why.
I mean, I would be the same way.
Yeah.
And then getting supplies over there is like super hard. Home Depot has nothing in it.
The only people who are working are the musicians with the ukuleles,
exactly.
That's it.
Yeah, we'd have to change back to our old profession.
Yeah,
of
true.
I
it.
know. Yeah.
True.
Lauren went to a hotel there. There was a ukulele guy in the elevator.
In the elevator.
Like for when
Playing?
you arrive.
Yeah.
When people came in?
Yeah, it
Was it
awesome.
a big elevator?
Yeah, kind of.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, you go to New York and they're in the subways.
Yeah.
Same thing.
It was part of like he was standing by the elevators, just like serenading people.
Yeah.
And then he'd randomly get into elevators with people and like keep singing to them while you're going to your floor.
Pretty nice.
That's pretty
Well,
cool.
I think most guys would get in an elevator with you.
Yeah. I think it was like you and your mom. So he's like, oh,
It was.
See? There
going
you
up,
go.
ladies.
He's just a random guy. We thought he worked there.
Yeah.
Chad has a question.
Oh, cool.
And I'm going to ask Joe to answer this one.
Okay.
Because I feel like we've answered it before.
All right.
So I want
Let's
Joe's
see.
take.
Yeah.
How do you feel about buying a deal from a wholesale company and they want a $40,000 non-refundable EMD sent to a separate bank account outside of escrow?
Fraud. If it's not fraud, then no, I would never do that. No, absolutely never do that. That's nuts. That's crazy. I mean, Chad, if you've got $40,000 and you want to give it to me, I'll send you wiring instructions and you can send it to me. That's fine. You can do that. You trust me, right,
But
Chad?
you'll apply it towards
like-
the property, right?
Oh yeah, I definitely will apply towards the property. The property's in Vegas, by the way. Yeah.
Okay.
Like no, that's crazy.
I know.
Yeah.
We had that.
That was a real request
Is
we
he
had from
still?
a
Are you
wholesaler.
still getting deals from those guys, or it seemed like they were kind of just starting out or something?
You think?
Scammers.
And then they go, well, man, we've been burned before, it's like by buyers.
That's what scammers do.
I know. They make you feel bad. You're like, oh no, I get it. No, it makes sense. Yeah.
Chad
me
says,
the one.
send the instructions, Joe.
Okay.
There you go. Perfect.
I'll be texting them shortly.
Yeah, you'll receive it in international waters. So
Yes.
then, therefore,
Yes.
where'd the money go?
Yes.
There wasn't
There's-
any money.
There's no violation.
International waters.
You know.
I'll send you
The
our.
FBI would have to come after me, and
Yeah.
they're too busy with Epstein.
That's
stuff,
right.
You know. So
Yeah, they already solved it. They already solved Epstein. So let's talk about your other book here.
my original
Your
book.
original book,
Yeah.
Flipping
Flipping
the
the
OC.
OC. Yes. That's beginning to end what you need to do to create a flipping company.
This one is thick.
Tried and true and tested.
Yep.
Yep.
For 50 years.
For 50 years.
$9.99.
Nice.
$9.99.
Whoa.
Not $100. $9.99.
Oh.
Corner Escrow
One
is a
of my
shout out in here.
favorite escrow companies, Corner Escrow. Yes.
And you think escrow company, you're like, oh no, they're all the same. That's what I used to think. They all do the same thing. They just get the money, they disperse it to everybody. But after doing, multiple deals, I now realize the power of a good escrow company.
And it's
Yeah.
not the escrow company.
It's the people.
It's the escrow
officer. Right.
Yes.
Okay, because the one I have now with Corner Escrow, she's been with 3 other companies. I just followed her.
She might be a lieutenant at this point. She's beyond an officer.
She might be a general.
She might be a general.
Yeah,
I would say
she's
so.
got a lot of people underneath her
Yeah.
that are working underneath her. Yes, yes. So yeah, she's probably a general. Yeah. So
And-
it's not the company; it is the officer.
Right.
That makes a big difference. A huge
A
difference.
huge difference. I
huge
mean,
difference.
let's talk about the differences here because Lauren and I are dealing with this escrow company. It's sort of a ragtag team. So it gets the bad news bears of escrow companies. They don't communicate. When they need something signed, they just send the paper. And with Christy, like everything is highlighted. It's all filled out in DocuSign. So I just go through and click. I was never learning what I was actually filling out and signing because then I would get the blank paper from these guys. I'm like, I don't know where do I fill in? And so it's just that alone is like a time saver, keeps everyone on track. She checks in with all parties at all times to make sure everyone's on the same page and it's moving. Because if no one's doing that, it just gets to the last day and then people are scrambling and it's it just doesn't come together.
Yeah, it's like flipping a property. I always suggest you go out and visit the property at least once a week. Because if you're not visiting the property, when you finally do go out, it's like a ghost town. Nobody's around. Nobody's done anything because you're not there telling them to do these things. They're just going to sit back and, drink a tequila or margarita or whatever and, move on.
Yeah.
I feel like we've been on this escrow. Like, they're definitely annoyed with us because just, Corner has just, or Christy, just completely blown our expectations out of the water. So they just, feels like no sense of urgency, and we're just pulling our hair out.
I'm sorry for giving you the easy button. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't realize. Oh my God.
Yeah, but now you're learning the ins and outs of different people and companies.
Yeah. Christy almost acts like a TC in a way because she makes sure everything is like in and follows up. Because we don't use a TC when we buy.
Yeah.
So having her is almost like that. She'll kind of take some of that load off. It's insane.
It's experience.
It's crazy. I don't know how. I mean, it seems like they make so little for what they.
Don't say that.
Oh, okay. For what they're actually doing.
We are going to bleep out that last comment.
They get paid very well.
They get paid very well.
No, they do, obviously.
Don't forget they get paid for two sides.
Yeah, okay.
So if they're
right,
making $2,500 on one side, they're making 25. That's $5,000.
It's $5,000. Yeah, on each. Yeah, okay. That adds up.
That's very close to what an agent makes on the deal, their commission. Not really, but they get paid very well.
Okay.
Yeah, and then they all throw the junk fees in there as well.
Oh yeah, that's great. Love those junk fees. Makes sense.
Yeah, you get paid very well.
Yeah. No. She gets. Yeah. No, she's making big bucks, but because it's worth it.
Okay.
Yeah. So
do we have videos?
Yeah.
We do.
We did.
They're kind of related to the guest, but
that's okay. We can review them.
Okay. We're talking about co-living. We're breaking our, talking about co-living today.
Okay, back to co-living. Top real estate expert reveals co-living investment secrets.
We've been finding the base of what we can get in co-living. Some of our co-living homes are performing so well that we're able to refinance them, pull all of our money out, and collect infinite returns on them, which is just such a hard thing to do in today's interest rate environment where rates are 7% plus. And on a long-term rental strategy, they just will not cash flow. But when you're doing it with a co-living exit strategy as a rental play, there's a really, really good opportunity to make money and do well for the community. We've been finding the base.
Yep. It's true, Jamil. Thank you.
True.
Glad you brought that up. Yeah.
So where is it appreciating enough where you can actually
pull your money out?
Basically
Burr. Well, I mean, you find a fixer and you get it deep enough and you just do, it's almost do like you're going to do a regular Burr, but you have an extra couple rooms. So he's in Phoenix, so it has some of that West Coast appreciation.
So I would say most of these properties are going to be single family. Condo's not going to work.
No, condo's not going to work. It's got to be single family, no HOA, plenty of parking.
What about the neighbors? You
don't worry about the neighbors. No, I'm just kidding.
What
you do.
What about the neighbors? Do you get a lot of complaints from neighbors?
Yeah, some people do. It's mostly parking. So parking is a huge issue you got to tackle and make sure that you're doing cul-de-sacs. Bad. Because there's only so much parking. You want that street parking. If you can get a corner lot, it's even better because then you can have people park on either side.
Do you offer e-bikes with each room?
No, that's a good thing.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
If you want to live here, this is your e-bike. Or if they're in Austin, they can take a cybercab.
Oh, cybercab, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of how Pad Split started was they wanted you near a bus stop.
Okay.
Because a lot of people are taking public transportation. Out here, it's not really possible. It takes you probably 4 days to go from Aliso to San Clemente on the bus. But in other areas, the metro system is pretty good. And so people will take their, will walk to the bus station and come back and do all that.
How different is this that you're doing than what Julian is doing? Is it similar?
It's similar, but it's more, he's working with international people.
Okay.
And international workers that come here on a visa, a certain type of visa, and then he's putting multiple in a room.
Oh.
Because they're here for a certain amount of time for a contract. They usually get a contract with a resort or something.
Yeah.
And then they'll be here for a certain amount of time, and then he has that turnover. So here you're getting an individual room, keyless entry. It's your own space within this space. And then Jamil's actually taking it one step further. He's taking a single family house and doing 6 beds, 6 bath. So
how do you put in the extra baths?
He's taking it down to the studs.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and then fully building it out from scratch, and then has like a like a kitchen and laundry room that are shared. So it's almost like a mini multifamily.
Is he permitting any of that stuff?
Yeah, he's
permitting. I didn't know
permitting.
that they would let him do that.
You permit it as much as you can.
I don't know if they're going to let you convert, an extra 3 bathrooms in a house.
Sure.
Aren't there?
Everything is yes with this guy.
Sure you can.
Okay.
You're just noticing that?
Yeah, no,
Sure
I'm
you
not.
can.
I'm just making a point that everything's yes, and then I have to go to the actual.
He's
source,
doing it. He's made a video
which is
about it. He's
producer.
doing it.
Well,
and the great part is if you have, as you can imagine, you can get for a bedroom with its own bathroom, maybe like $280, $300 a week. It's like $1,200 a week times 6 or 7 rooms. That's bringing in like, $8,000. So then you're probably cash flowing like $4,000 after everything's paid. So my point is, who cares about permits?
Could be a liability thing. I'm just saying.
so I know a person who has a place out in Riverside, actually 2 of them,
Okay.
that are not working out.
Oh, okay. Where's this going?
Pad split might be a good idea, a good suggestion.
Yep.
These houses are like 3,000 square feet, 4
Let's do it.
bedrooms.
Yeah, they're in Riverside.
But they can't rent it out and cash flow
Right.
for a long-term renter.
Okay. Do they want to sell them?
They don't want to sell them, but they're headed in the direction of they're going to have to sell them, if you know what I mean.
Seller finance.
Seller finance.
Subject to.
Subject to.
More like it.
To.
Yeah. Subject to is more like
Yeah.
it.
Send them my information. I'll get them onboarded immediately.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, that kind of popped in my head like, well,
Yeah.
this might be an exit strategy.
Yeah. No, it's
Yeah.
totally. I mean, and the part is there has been some pushback in certain cities because of neighbors and issues like that. But they're also passing laws that are basically saying we need housing. We've been whining about housing for the last 10 years. This is a solution.
Yeah.
So let's work together.
Yeah.
Apparently there's something in the big, beautiful bill that is sort of like pro co-living. I don't know what it is, but maybe you can find that video.
Do you have it on here?
No.
Do we have another video?
Do we have another video?
We do.
Okay.
It's not that one though.
Okay.
I don't think. Residential investing, co-living versus family homes, risks and yields.
Oh, all the keywords.
It's going. It's just
Interesting.
loading slow. There we go.
Yeah.
They don't have to house a family. So that next 30%, they're going to be sharper and they're going to be less emotional in their negotiations for that product.
Yes.
In residential now, we do see a lot of people out there coming up with new products. And I'm not going to say that as a whole, all of these products are unsuccessful, but we have seen some very interesting products come into the market more recently, co-living and things like that. I can see how that product can get sold, and I can see why people would move towards that product, because we know that residential yields are tight, interest rates are high. In our personal experience, most of those products that we've assessed, they just come with way too much risk.
Yes.
And the yield difference from a standard house that's suitable to a family to a co-living property, for example, you really need to break it down, because if you're going to put 3 or 4 people into a house, those are individual people. Individual people seem to move around a lot quicker.
Yes.
So therefore, if these people are moving around and moving in and out of the property, then the property manager is probably the one that's making the most money out of this.
Reletting fees.
Because if you really break down that yield, hey, if this is fully occupied and it's fully occupied for the majority of the year and the rest of it, this is the yield that you're going to get.
Yeah.
They don't have to house a...
Interesting points.
I think this guy knows Kamala Harris, because I just heard him speak for a minute or two, but I don't know what he said.
The accent?
Products.
No, it's like...
Oh, yeah. What are you talking about?
What are he talking about?
I think he's talking about mortgages, and as far as the product.
You heard the word mortgage?
No, products. He's talking about products. So I think that's what he's talking about. And
I don't think he knows what he's talking about.
Yeah, I'm
He's
with
just
Joe.
talking.
he's wearing a suit.
He's just
Anyone
talking.
that wears
It
a
was
suit
kind of just going in circles.
knows what they're talking
Yeah,
about.
it's like very strange.
No, he was basically saying that if you look at a traditional family, like everyone's touting co-living right now,
Yeah.
and they're like, oh, these are the returns you can get. But there is some turnover, so you have to really take that into the vacancy into account. Whereas if you just had a family renting a house for 12 months, maybe the yield is the same, depending on the operator. But I think he's talking about how the products like DSCR and all these other ones, they're not ready for this co-living sort of thing.
Did you hear any of that?
Products.
I didn't hear any of that.
No.
I will translate it for you guys.
Obviously,
That's
You
what
should
it is.
make a video
That's
saying
what
the
he's-
same thing,
products.
but the way you said it.
Yeah. Well, I think that's what he was saying. Oh, it's ChatGPT later.
You're not sure.
As long as you wear a suit, you know what you're
Okay.
talking about.
Got it.
That's been proven.
Okay.
All right. Any other videos?
We got one more. Disadvantages to co-living houses.
See if this person makes sense.
Gotcha. Come on.
We didn't pay
I
for the
specialize
Wi-Fi.
in co-living houses for real estate. And what that means is basically I rent by the room to different tenants. The advantages of this are obvious, but one of the primary disadvantages is management. There aren't many management companies that will manage co-living houses or rooming houses, as I like to call them. So I either can use the limited options available, such as Pad Split or other softwares that are similar, but there's a lot of disadvantages to that, or I can create a property management company essentially that manages my own stuff. Now, a lot of real estate investors do this. They'll actually kind of make their own in-house management team to manage their own portfolio. This isn't crazy or uncommon, but this is one of the major reasons that for rooming houses, I like to specialize for young professionals. Okay, so I could rent to students, I could rent to low income, but I do it to young professionals, so that way there's a lot of deconfliction that they can do themselves. It's a lot less management intensive, and therefore I can do it on my own for a long period of time before I set up my team.
Yeah.
Management's got to be a nightmare.
Depends on who you have in there.
It's
Not you.
It's got to be a nightmare.
Give me one more chance.
No.
It's got to be a nightmare.
Nah.
Yeah, it's a nightmare.
You can't manage 9 people at a
No.
time
No,
in one house.
no.
Are
you can
you
manage one
joking?
house with a family in there, but 9 people. I mean, you've got to be getting calls in the middle of the night that, producer was being too loud in the room next door. What do you want me to do about that?
Yeah. That's where you just have a voicemail.
This guy snuck in. Here's another question. What about pets?
No pets allowed.
This guy snuck in a dog in the middle of the night.
That would be me, actually. I'd have the cat in my room for sure.
This,
Not allowed.
This,
Done.
This girl snuck in a cat, and I'm allergic to cats.
Membership canceled. You just set expectations beforehand.
Joe, see, this is
Very simple. Very simple. It's all about psychology.
You can be like the head
You
honcho
do-
operator, but you are not going to property manage this stuff.
You
Sorry.
do know that all of this is not a new idea.
No. I
No.
know it's not.
Okay.
We said
Yeah.
that.
Just want to make sure.
This is
Brothels.
like
You know.
when this it just got a fancy term. I was like, every place we lived from like 18 to like mid 20s, we had roommates, and that's co-living.
Yes.
Renting a room, and
Yes.
you
We
know,
did rent some rooms.
Yeah.
we co-lived in a van with our other band members.
Yeah,
So
and co-living.
we've
I
done
don't
it
know how
all.
you did that. I do not know how you did that. And I saw the van.
Yeah.
That
I
was
saw a
one of
picture
that
it.
was
See
one
the
of the
inside. I'm
vans.
trying to get one of the inside because it's pretty plush on the inside. If I do say
That was our like personal local van, and then when we had the actual tours, we were in a 15 passenger, so everyone had like their own bench
you
and
sleep on a bench.
more
What's
space.
wrong with that?
Yeah,
Come on, you can get a good night's sleep on a bench.
on a van bench.
If there's one
It's
thing the
been a long
homeless,
time since I slept on a bench.
there's one thing the homeless and winos taught us is you
yeah.
can get a good night's sleep on a bench.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah.
Did you serenade them too?
Yeah.
Yeah. You
right.
parked at Central Park, and there's homeless just milling around, and you
Yeah.
started with the ukulele, and they all came around and
We
said,
didn't-
"Oh, we got
hey.
entertainment here,
Yeah.
free."
Yeah.
We were
they start
not in a
circling the
van because we were homeless. We were in a van because we were on
Yes.
such a busy travel schedule.
Oh,
And so we'd be driving
good
to
excuse.
one.
go ahead.
I had a home while we had the van
Okay.
because we'd be traveling from one gig and have to get to the next one like in a day. And then when we'd have days off, that's when
Were
we get
you-
the hotels.
Were you in the van more than in your own home?
At
For
points.
certain stints.
At points.
For certain stints.
Okay.
Yeah. A lot of double trees.
But the van was always in motion. It wasn't like parked down by the river with the other homeless.
There's a few Walmart parking lots.
I was going to say, you know that Walmart lets you stay in their
Oh,
parking
yeah.
lots for free.
We did
We
have to
loved
do
Walmart.
that.
Are
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
kidding? It was
Yeah.
good.
Oh, you can
Walmart's
get a
was
good
real
community going on at Walmart.
my
Let me
God.
tell you.
They got the
I
bathrooms.
bet you go out to Hemet and there's
yeah.
a full parking lot at night.
Oh, the Walmart
Of
out
homeless
there
people.
is freaky. Remember we went
Is
there
it?
one time?
Did we? I don't
Yeah, we've
remember.
only been to the Walmart there one time, but the
Yeah.
Walmart in Hemet is.
The Walmart around here, I every once in a while, I don't go there. I drive my wife there every once in a while.
Yeah, just gotta look around.
But I do see motorhomes
Yeah.
out there.
Yeah.
But not a lot,
No,
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 and
no,
it's
it's
such
just-
a big lot. They're like
exactly.
way out there.
Yeah, not bothering anyone.
No.
They got the lights on, so you kind of feel safe at night.
They have security.
They got security.
Yeah.
So it's better than a truck stop. We've been to some truck stops.
But where
that
do
are
you go?
Yeah.
Where,
freaky.
where do you go to the restroom?
In Walmart.
So they used to be open
Are they
24
24?
hours. No, they used to
they
be.
not so much anymore, but
Yeah.
they used to
Really?
be when we were traveling. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, that was good. It depends on the area too.
Yeah.
okay.
Otherwise, you just hold it for 8 hours.
No,
What?
you can't hold it. When you're young, I guess you can do all these things, but
Yeah, and then you're like
as you get older, it's like forget it. Yeah.
the toiletry kit. You go in there and
You
take a
plan
shower.
your life, you plan your next trip around, can I make it?
Yeah.
Or do I need to go to the restroom? It's
Right.
like, when you're traveling with your kids. I know you guys don't have kids yet, but when you're traveling with the kids, the first thing you ask them, do you need to go to the restroom before we go? Okay, let's go now. I don't need to go. Let's go.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go. Because I'm not stopping.
Yep.
My dad used to say that. I'm
Yeah,
not
I'm not
stopping.
stopping.
I don't care if you have to
Yeah.
go or not. I'm not
Yeah.
stopping.
Yeah, you make because you want to make good time as a man.
Yeah.
You want to get there to
not
there
stopping.
as quick as possible.
Yeah, I need. Hand me a Coke can. Here. You need to go. Here.
Man,
Oh, come on.
jeez. Yeah, you get pretty good at
It's the
that.
good old days.
Little spillage on the bottom of the station wagon. Never hurt anyone. But anyway, co-living is the future. Get on or get left behind, people. It's AI of real estate. If you're not doing it, you're getting left behind.
And definitely, if you are
am-
interested in doing it, this
Yeah.
is the person to talk to.
And
I
I'm
don't do co-living.
Working on my
It's not something that I'm ever going to be interested in.
Joe,
You
I can
just
talk
brought
you
up a
into it.
potential deal for it.
Exactly.
Oh, I did, didn't I?
Yeah, you're gonna
Yeah,
want
but
to get
it's a
in
deal
on
that I'm going to present to you guys.
you're
It's
gonna
not
wholesale
something that
it.
I'm not going to wholesale. I'm just going to give it to you. I just give you the
okay.
lead.
All right.
You know.
You don't want to get your beak wet on that? A little co-living? Until I'm just calling you like, I don't even want to say.
No. Now,
I am
not- it's
not.
not-
depending on the type of house, maybe I'll get involved. But
Hawaii.
yeah, location would work too. Yeah, I'd have to go.
And one
check
room
it
would
out
always
every
need to
once in
be
a while.
vacant for you to pop in and take a little vacay.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's fair.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah.
yeah.
I know. And I'm trying to figure out a way to blend that and mobile homes into
In Hemet.
Mo living.
In
Mo
Hemet.
living.
Yeah. Yeah, in Hemet. Yeah.
You should see some of these mobile home units we looked at.
Yeah.
They're making duplexes, triplexes, and quadplexes.
And
Nice.
eightplexes. on
Double
top.
stacked mobile
Nice.
homes.
Yeah.
Let's
I
get
know.
into that.
Exactly.
Just have to find some land, right?
Yeah, I got some land.
Yeah.
I got some land. I got 6 acres up in Sunland if you want to.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I
get in
just
on
told
it.
you about that
Yeah.
today. Yes,
So
but it's kind of hilly.
that's fine.
So-
People can.
You have to terrace them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Just build along the hill.
It'll look like strands. It'll be the old strands.
Exactly.
Just all the mobile
Or
homes.
Yeah.
you could, get together with LA City Council and build something, and
All the Palisades people.
They paid the contractor $600,000 per apartment
That's right.
Isn't
Yeah.
that wild?
to build
Yeah.
low cost housing.
Yeah.
It's
That's
like,
wild.
I would have done that.
I know.
Hello.
Yeah.
You want to give me $600,000 per apartment?
We
Yeah.
can do that all day.
Wow.
You didn't say I had to build it here. I'm going to build it in the factory and get it driven here. So there's
For
that.
600,000.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah, exactly. Wow, the time
Okay.
really flew by.
It did, didn't
what
it? Oh
a
my
fun
gosh.
episode.
A whole hour
You guys,
of this was almost kind of like a Seinfeld episode.
Right.
We talked about nothing.
nothing. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're good at that.
Yeah. We talked
We're getting
about
better
nothing.
every week.
There were some tidbits in there.
There are tidbits in there. So if you guys followed along, we really appreciate your help or your attention. And we will be back here next week. I'm going to have a special guest host because Joe's going to be on a cruise. That's when the boat leaves.
Yeah.
That's how you know. Oh, there you go.
Just like that.
So tune in for that, and we will see you on the next one. See you guys.
See you later. If you want some more advice on real estate investing, reach out to us one-on-one.